Hey everybody, I have an excellent question. I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to answer this. It is, what do you do to help cope and develop your spiritual gifts? I need advice for my own mental health. I took some time to think about this question, mainly because there's a lot of different directions that you could take a look at the whole path of developing intuition, developing your sixth sense. And what are the struggles that you're going to have to face along the way? It all depends on the type of person that you are. What are you struggling with when it comes to a relationship with yourself? What are you struggling with when it comes to the other people that are in your life and how they are going to embrace you or not embrace you for having a sixth sense? But it's not just about the human world, obviously, because you're opening up to having a relationship with the universe. And the universe is full of opportunities to grow and grow with love or grow with fear, conquer fear, grow with love some more, resist this whole thing, step back, take a break. It could be anything. So coping is just like a step by step by step experience. So, I have so many experiences where I had to learn how to cope, but some of my strengths are I really want to get to the root of all honesty. I want to get to the root of exactly the way this makes me feel and to be able to articulate it. And so in developing my gifts, I had to learn about communication, but I also was very excited to get to work with this skill in order to help other people. So that coping side of that process was a lot of fun for me. What intimidated me, for instance, working with other people, this is developing your gifts to a level that you're confident enough to work with other people, is how are they going to receive my experience? Did I articulate it well enough? Did I get to the bottom of it? Did I give them something that was worth it, And so then I'm trying to build ways to make it even more meaningful, even more effective. I want to be more observant. I just want to develop my ability to interpret better, okay? So I don't hold myself back for saying that there's so much room to grow here to develop my skills for interpretation. So I learned, for instance, all about chakras over the course of years, and what does that mean, and what is that energy center space, and what is the purpose of it? Is chakra removal real? And so I went on this whole learning journey. But you see, for me, I don't need a coping skill, for instance, in order to be excited about what I do. And I don't need a coping skill, for instance. I'm not doubting what I do or what I'm sharing. I just want to share it better than I've ever shared it before. And I'm going to have that going on for years and years to come. Even right now, I still want to share it better than I've ever shared it before. And so my need to cope when it comes to developing, I guess, the love for what I do there's no need to cope with that. However, there are times where I want to feel as though I could be translated and understood in a deep way. And I know that I'm not going to make sense to everybody. And I know that, so self-worth is something I have to work on. That's a mental health scenario. That's an emotional health scenario, is working on my self-worth and knowing that it doesn't matter how people receive me, because I know who I am, and I know that I'm going to take ownership of what I love more than anything, is to experience this adventure of the spirit realm and share it with others, whether they want to receive it or not. It can be very, very, very lonely to be on this path, because society isn't encouraging this sixth sense skill set. So loneliness is something that's hard to cope with. Feeling like you don't have anybody to talk to about what you're psychically experiencing is really hard to cope with. You're going to have to face challenge in developing your skill, and that challenge is going to be derailing. That challenge might take months. Like I've talked about my psychic attack experience, but on the other side of that, like through the very dark tunnel, you reach the light at the end of this dark tunnel. And that light is yourself. It's rekindling with your own inner strength, the power of your own light. And you start to realize that this psychic thing, it's not about the mind, it's about the heart. It always was about the heart. You can know that all day long until you have to face the ultimate challenge. And then you have to become that which you know, okay? It's not just, I know stuff, I'm becoming that which I know. Other things that have really derailed me that I never would have thought of derailed me, is again, becoming what you know. So you're going to have moments that freak out what I can only describe as your ego's interpretation. It's like, I know this, but now I'm becoming what I know, and I don't know how to cope with that reality. So for me, I don't really care. Old soul, young soul stuff I don't really care about that. Because I just care about what makes a human being, what drives a human being, what creates fear in a human being. And it doesn't matter what spectrum of the almighty soul that you are. We're all human beings, and we're all trying in this experience, or we're afraid of trying, or whatever. And I find that to be extremely interesting. And so when I got to see the age of my soul, it was important that I was shown this, not just as something I was told, okay, but as something that I witnessed in a spectrum of energetic experience that literally made me freak out, okay? And it was a self-love thing. I did it to know the depths of your soul based upon the extraordinariness of the things that you've been through and what you've had to face and what you've had to overcome in the course of unfathomable quantities of time. It makes you want to barf, okay? The human inside yourself is like, I don't want to know that I've had those experiences. I don't want to know that my soul wanted to go through that. I don't want to know that. That doesn't make me feel good inside, because that tells me I'm the type of soul that's going to sign up for sick, messed up stuff. And I want that to stop, like, why does my soul do this to me? Because my soul loves to have the adventure of challenge, okay? So when you witness this, it's not old soul, young soul, what a superficial thought, but when you become the awareness of this, it's almost vomit level stuff. Like, you can't even believe it, all right? Here's another example. When you start to realize you have parallel selves that are living these freaking ultra awesome lives, and they're so full of light and love, and they just want to help you. It's like, barf. How come I'm the aspect of you that chose to live through these challenges while you're over there just fanning yourself in a happy-go-lucky environment? Screw you, So when you get to experience that, it makes you feel like grindy and irritated and confused, okay? And so these are the things that you're going to inevitably, as an intuitive person, as somebody who's connected to the universe, you're going to run into this stuff, and it's going to freaking just knock you off your rocker, and you're going to say, what the flaps, like, what the living flippity flappity flew, and how do I emotionally cope with this? Because it's just part of it, okay? It's just part of it. So what could I tell you as far as developing spiritual gifts? And then as it relates to, coping, but is it coping with developing spiritual gifts, or is it coping with mental health? So the question is, how are these connected? You know what I mean? And so when it comes to anything having to do with mental health, whether it's developing spiritual gifts or not, and we have to look at the whole picture here of what has happened in life to help you love yourself, feel loved by others, become an individual. Like, mental health stuff is really related to the freedom to be you, the freedom to be you in the way that you are. And the freedom to face fears and be completely alone in the process of facing something that is swallowing you whole, and that you can survive this thing because you have a whole universe of love that is out there trying to support you. Just let it in, right? I can't say that loneliness is easy. I can't say that being an oddball is easy. I can't say that having this expanded awareness and few people to understand you, like this, and then going through it alone, like none of that stuff is easy. So maybe the best thing I could say as far as mental health is just to do the best that you can to love yourself through the whole experience. And it's like, take ownership of what makes you awesome and get excited about the adventure of this growth. And if something comes up that's derailing, you have what you need to face it. Otherwise you wouldn't be experiencing that. Okay. So it's happening for all the right reasons, whether it's human level stuff that's super wrong and unjust and blah, 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 happening for all the right reasons to help you develop your spiritual gifts. And then spirit level stuff that is really confusing. That's happening for all the right reasons to help you develop your spiritual gifts. Okay. And it helps you to develop the human being that you are too. Right. So that's what I got for you. Thank you so much for asking this question. I hope you found this perspective useful. And I have a feeling that anybody watching who's wondered themselves about that, I hope you guys find that useful too. If there's anything you've ever wanted to ask me, put it in the comments section. You might be the inspiration for the next video. So be sure to like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching.